Is Mandalorian Grogu a mistake? We haven't had a Star Wars movie in several years, and people are chopping at the bit for some more Star Wars in theaters. And everyone's been kind of sketchy on the fact that Mandalorian Grogu is going to be the first one we get in theaters. Initial trailers have come out, hasn't looked fantastic, kind of looked like an extended version of the episode, but it got a Super Bowl spot, and a lot of people were excited about that. No Doomsday trailer, no brand new day trailer, but we got Mandalorian Grogu. Well, this is coming from Collider, and people seem to be very disappointed on what we got. This might come as a surprise, but there's a new Star Wars movie premiering in a little over 3 months. Since 2019, the on-screen adventure of the galaxy far, far away have existed only on the small screen, with shows like Andor, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan Kenobi, which was trash, widening the franchise scope while drawing varied responses from fans and critics. A grand total of 7 live-action Star Wars shows have arrived on Disney Plus since release of the last movie. The maligned Rise of Skywalker, oh god, numerous films have been put into development over the years, or at the very least, they've been reported online, but most haven't made it past the trying stage. The drought will finally end in May with the release of The Mandalorian and Grogu, a project that rather fittingly emerged from a TV show. The Jon Favreau directed movie will pick up the titular character following The Mandalorian Season 3 and find them in a brand new adventure. Plot details have been scarce, and that's a bit of a problem. Thus far, the marketing efforts of the film have been pretty bare bones, and that was especially true of his recent Super Bowl spot. As it stands right now, The Mandalorian Grogu is putting itself in a bad position. Mandalorian Grogu dropped a few new promo during last Super Bowl. Nestled between usual celebrity-filled ads, it seemed like an ideal time to spotlight some eye-catching new footage, not only because the Super Bowl is typically one of the most watched events of the year. Thus far, Grogu has only produced one trailer, and it got dinged by some for not feeling cinematic enough. Star Wars returned to the big screen. Kicking off the final months of the promotional period with an action-packed trailer would have been a no-brainer. Instead, however, Mandalorian Grogu uses airtime to pay homage to classic Budweiser ads featuring Din Djarin, Pedro Pascal, and Grogu riding in a Tantuan-drawn, sorry if I'm pronouncing the Star Wars stuff wrong, carriage across snowy landscapes. There's some symbolism at play, as Grogu at one point literally takes the reins from his adopted father, but concrete references to what the movie is actually about is barely even registers as an ad for the movie. This kind of restrained thematic marketing could be effective if done properly. The problem here is that The Mandalorian Grogu hasn't done enough to establish itself as the kind of blockbuster that needs minimal promotion. The show is one of the strongest, most successful Star Wars projects in the Disney Plus era, but Season 3 was the weakest thus far and still only registers as a TV show to the general public. There's been little explanation for how the movie will differentiate itself in the series, and rather than making a big demonstration at the Super Bowl, Lucasfilm opted to rely on character recognition. It didn't really work. Yeah, I feel like it goes on to kind of talk about the same things, but in general, I think they're hitting it on the head in terms of they think that Mandalorian Grogu is bigger than it actually is. And I think that's the problem. What do you think, Evan?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with the sentiments of the Collider article. I think they're getting everyone's feeling. And we always say, what does the great John Campy always say? That trailers are supposed to either take what little excitement you have and bump it up a notch, or if you don't have any, give you a little bit of excitement to hold on to till you get to the movie. And when you pay for a Super Bowl ad, you're spending a lot of money. You didn't do that with your other big projects like Spider-Man and Doomsday. And so you put it into this, but all you did was show clips of footage that we already saw, like the Tauntauns, like, I'm mispronouncing it now too. Like they were saying, like a Budweiser commercial, like, you know, with the cart dragging him. It's just nothing was exciting. Nothing was like, oh my goodness, I need to see this movie. This movie needs to be seen in theaters. And that is a huge missed opportunity. And
Great.
Collector has it right as well. You know, this movie, it comes out in May. We're only like 3 months away. And this was your one opportunity to prove to people why this shouldn't be on Disney Plus and that it needs to be on the big screen. And you failed to do that in a big, bad way. Did you see this trailer? And if so, what was your thoughts about it?
I saw parts of it like online, people kind of making fun of the whole thing, and because I didn't really watch the Super Bowl, but just hearing the description of it just doesn't make sense to me. It wasn't the time to do a co-ad with a bear, especially with a movie that's targeted towards kids, right? Mandalorian Grogu is targeted towards kids most of the time because the kids love Grogu, right? So I felt like
Right.
Budweiser's a weird
Well,
crossover.
they weren't doing an actual one. They were saying like it was like a Budweiser ad, like with like the Clyde,
Okay.
like the Clydesdales with like the carriage going through the snow, like that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
That's what they were like. They showed a shot like that. So they were like, they're trying to do like a Budweiser ad instead of a epic
Gotcha.
trailer. That's, I think, what they were trying to say. Yeah. So it was like, what are we doing here? But even that is causing audience confusion because it's like, what are we supposed to expect from this? Like a
Yeah.
Budweiser ad or an epic Star Wars trailer? Because that's not the vibe you're giving. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's weird because the show itself
Crazy.
was epic for most of it. Even like
Yeah,
I
the
like
first
season
two.
3. It is a step down a little bit in the first half from the other seasons, but I think the second half is strong. And that last bit of the second half of the season was really cinematic and epic. So for them not to lean into what made the show really strong is weird. Like if you're gonna bring it to the movie, you need to update it a little bit. It makes it feel
Yeah.
like the shows look too good to make the Star Wars movies look good enough.
100%. That's exactly it. No, I totally agree. And it was just such a missed opportunity. And Kevin is saying they play it safe moving forward. People still complain and be negative. And that's true. I mean, there is a fine line, right? Like,
Yeah.
but this of not showing any new footage, of thinking people are gonna get excited about like a chariot ride with tauntauns or whatever, that's not going to get people excited about a movie that's 3 months away. And this
Yeah.
is a Star Wars movie in theaters that hasn't happened since 2019. So I totally get the playing safe, but at the same time, you're not doing this property the service that it deserves if it truly deserves to be on the big screen. And
And it's
from
just
the
playing
looks
it
of it,
safe and also just not doing anything, right? Like I feel like playing it safe would be just what they did with the first trailer, just a standard kind of montagey look at what this movie might be about, and
yeah,
then this is just like nothing. The whole reigns and all that stuff. That's not something that's going to get us excited. We've seen it. We've been
no,
watching for 3 seasons these characters together, so you got to give us a new dynamic. Why is it worth checking out? And the way they pitched it was like this was going to be the movie that kind of brings all the shows together, and I still don't feel that either.
it's honestly, and as we know, Dave Filoni and Lin-Win Brennan are taking over as president, and so this is going to be a new era, and this is kind of the end of the Kennedy era. But it just seems very tone deaf that you think you can rely on nostalgia of a show when you're making a big move to the big screen and expect people to still be along for the ride. That scares me, that you don't have that self-awareness that Star Wars is not where it is at on the big screen for many, many years. And this is the moment to have people remember how epic Star Wars can be on the big screen. And the fact that you didn't realize that really scares me. And I hope that doesn't carry over to the new regime that's
And I
about to
gotta
start.
say, a lot of people give Kathleen Kennedy a lot of crap, but
Mhm.
during her era, the trailers for her Star Wars movies were fire. I will never forget watching Force Awakens trailer and how
Oh
much
man.
goosebumps. Last Jedi trailer,
Yeah.
goosebumps. Even Rise of
Yeah.
Skywalker
John
trailers were
Boy,
good.
with the,
It's
takes
yeah,
it's like,
even
oh my
for
God.
Solo, for Rogue One, like the
No, you're
trailers
right. Like,
make
you're
you go,
right.
"Oh, I want to
Yes.
watch these." So
She's
this
running
feels
at
more
the
like Filoni.
she's running at the not the TIE fighter, but is it a TIE fighter?
Yes.
And she jumps over. Like, those are exciting, but like, what are you really showing us here? Like like an AT is falling off a snowy mountain. Like, that's supposed to get us excited. Like, what would be sick is like Grogu doing some epic Force stuff. Like, I don't know, like a fan can think about something like that, but why can't you guys? That's really what I don't understand, that there's like this disconnect that you're relying on nostalgia when you really need to rely on this is Star Wars now and this is how good it can be, and you're not really doing that, and I don't get it. So I don't know, guys. Let us know your thoughts. Did you see the Super Bowl trailer for Mandalorian Grogu, and did it bump up your excitement? Did it take away what little excitement you did had? And do you think we're going to get anything else that can bump it back up before May? Drop a comment below and let us know your guys' thoughts.